Group A thing, I think, has improved the sport in itself. It should have made it safer. But at the same time, the other restrictions that have come along have rather messed up the purpose of having Group A in the first place.
Well, I don't think that the Group B cars should be banned, you know, like, I mean...
I think the spectators over here are actually better than a lot of countries where there are a lot of accidents. But what I would say to them is definitely stand well back and give the people a chance, you know, the people who are trying to keep them back, give them the chance to do their job, you know, keep the stages clear.
I think it's really somewhat of a crisis point in Irish rallying, particularly Irish rallying, rallying worldwide, with the changes in the regulations. We were driving Nissan this year, and 3 weeks before the first round of the Open Championship, we found out the car couldn't compete in the 3 rounds of the championship. So it doesn't really help teams or anyone organising, especially private, for budgets, sponsorship and so on.
But it definitely had to be slowed down to a certain extent. But maybe there's a bit of question as to how it's been slowed down.
Well, one of the things that they've done, and very obvious in this rally, the circuit, is shorten the event, shorten the stages. Their view is that it makes it safer, the drivers don't get tired and all things like this, and it's easier to control it. But in fact, I think there'll be as many spectators this year as there normally are, and therefore they're concentrated into smaller areas. Therefore, they're more vulnerable and they're more difficult to control.
I honestly don't think that it's any slower. In fact, in some cases, I would say it's getting to be as fast as the supercars. But I mean, that's the rules, and we'll have to work around them.
The views around scrutiny on the day before the off. But before we get this show on the road, let's just remind ourselves of how it went last year, the year in which a rugby-mad young Welshman from Haverfordwest came to Ireland and became the first to take a four-wheel drive car to victory in the circuit. This is how David Llewellyn did it.
Go.
Young Di Llewellyn had the sort of rally drivers dream about right from the start. Having finished 8th in a Quattro last year, he knew four-wheel drive cars could finish the circuit, but could they win it? As the 1984 National Rally champion, his driving ability wasn't in doubt, but would the Metros stick the pace?
You know, the four-wheel drive has never shown over here in Ireland because the roads are so bumpy, and it does put so much strain on the transmission. But they are getting more reliable now and getting stronger, and I'm very pleased with the car, the way the car's handling over the bumps and all the jumps. I mean, it really does feel very, very good.
In fact, the early stages developed into a 1-2 for the Metros, with Llewellyn having a tremendous dice with Jimmy McRae. In Dublin on Saturday morning, Llewellyn was back to second.
Jimmy was, I think, 5 seconds in front of us when we started this morning, and we took something like 20 seconds or 25 seconds off him during the next 3 stages. And on the last stage, though, we'd been running slicks all morning, and I think the choice was right for the first 3 stages. That's why we were quicker than him. But on the last stage, it was the wrong choice, and he took it all back and a bit more. He took 35 seconds back off us, so Jimmy's back in the lead again now.
So it's the battle will resume in the Wicklow Mountains.
That's right.
McRae is looking for his 5th Circuit of Ireland victory to equal Paddy Hopkirk's record. Llewellyn has never won an international rally. Both men are pushing their cars to the limit, but neither can afford to make the slightest mistake. Choosing the right tyres becomes vitally important.
It's a very long way to go still, and a lot can happen. The reason we dropped so much time to Jimmy was on the last 2 stages we went in on slicks and he went in on wets, and it turned out to his advantage. The last stage was very, very wet, and he took 30 seconds out of us on 1 stage.
Llewellyn's all-white Metro continues to pile on the pressure over the mountains. But as the rally reached Waterford on Saturday afternoon, the Welshman still had to settle for 2nd place. Early morning on day 3, and the famous Sunday run was to prove decisive. Llewellyn really puts the power down, showing the style which had already brought him a 1st and 2nd in the opening rounds of this year's National Rally Championship. Suddenly, it's all change at the top as Llewellyn capitalises on McRae's mechanical problems. The Scotsman is stuck in second gear and drops a lot of time. Llewellyn's Metro takes over the lead for the third time as McRae struggles back to Waterford in a change of gearbox.
Dare you even think about the implication of winning the Circuit of Ireland for your career at this stage?
No, not really. I mean, it'll be my first international win if it does happen, and I'll be absolutely delighted, but it's a bit early, I think, to talk about that.
Rallying is all about teamwork, and Llewellyn was fortunate in having the multi-talented Phil Short in the co-driver's seat. The huge Yorkshireman has already won the circuit back in 1973 with Jack Tordoff. He flies his own private plane and has a degree in Latin and Greek.
At the Sala and Glenose stages, David Llewellyn's dreams are beginning to look a reality. And Austin Rover are proving an enormous point about the quality of their product.
And the winning combination of man and machine duly arrived at the City Hall to be officially proclaimed #1 and enjoy the acclamation of the crowd.
David Llewellyn, you're probably the winner of one of the toughest Circuit of Irelands ever.
Thank you very much. I'm chuffed a bit, very pleased.
Fantastic day for yourself, and of course a fantastic day for Wales.
Yes, it's a fantastic day for me. It's my first international win, and also for the car. It's the first international win for the car, and I think it's the first Welshman ever to win the rally as well. So altogether, I'm absolutely chuffed a bit.
And of course, Phil, this is a position you've been in before as Circuit of Ireland winner.
Yes, it's a long time ago, 13 years ago, in fact.
It's changed quite a bit in those days.
Yes, now we've got pace notes, and it's much, much faster. The cars are very advanced. It's a different rally altogether.
To the victor, the laurels, and with the Welsh Dragon triumphant, they'll be singing in the valleys tonight.
And so we're back in Belfast for the start of the 1987 Circuit of Ireland Rally. And David Llewellyn is here again, aiming to win the title once more for Wales. Well, Belfast people, you know, are very keen on their motorsport, and for as long as just about anyone can remember, they've been crowding out to see it take to the roads over the Easter weekend. But this time it's different. The rally won't be ending back here on Easter Tuesday, so Belfast folk are going to have to enjoy the rally cars on Good Friday and early on Easter Saturday. Belfast itself, like the rally, has changed over the years. A city that grew up in shipbuilding and linen has now got a different face to show to the world, and some of the landmarks around in 1987 aren't really the ones that a stranger would recognise had he been here many years before. The city puts on a friendly face for its visitors, whether they're here for the cars or for the shopping, or indeed for something else, and they enjoy their time with the folk from the north. Well, the rally gets underway in the morning with the first of 7 stages, all of them in Ulster. I hope you'll be able to join us tomorrow for our coverage of Day 1 of the 1987 Circuit of Ireland.